If you're alive, that's enough. If you're alive, that's all you need to do. If you're alive from God's grace.
Sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Obliterating social norms and overrunning the cultural corrosion with righteous rhetoric and common sense. This is Overflow, the extended conversation covering life, today's newsbreakers, and the occasional banter with the most interesting members of the human species. Signaling from the conservative chasm of Central Valley, California. It's the outlaws your conscience warned you about. Let's welcome your hosts, Loto and PhillVill.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Overflow EXT. We are excited over here because it is episode number 5.
Number 5, Loto.
Man, it is episode number 5, PhillVill. What do you think about that, bro?
It's crazy. And number 5, you're way across on assignment in this great state of where? You're somewhere. You're not.
Alaska. I wanna welcome everybody here to Anchorage. We are off location. As a matter of fact, on location right here in the big state of Alaska. A lot of things going out here in Alaska. It's election season out here. It's pretty obvious. But right behind me, man, you all see the beautiful sleeping lady. A whole lot of water, beautiful trees and all that. I'm on Government Hill, man. Matter of fact, you're actually in my papa's backyard.
Really?
PhillVill, man. I don't know if, yeah, bro. I mean, it just makes, episode number 5 a little bit more special. For all the podcast geeks out there, you all know that technically, and with data and all that, episode 5 is a milestone. So, PhillVill, man, congratulations, bro. We made it to number 5, brother.
Yes. Congratulations. And I'm glad that we get to do this, especially, as friends and brothers for so many years. Number 5.
Praise
and
God,
I
bro.
can't wait. We've been wanting to do this episode for quite a while. We actually pre-recorded it, parts of it, several months ago.
Well, what PhillVill is talking about, everyone, is that, man, we're going to introduce an amazing person that God has truly blessed us with, man. We had some awesome episodes behind us, man. Amazing people we got to interview, amazing sermons we got to have an extensive conversation on. But you're going to meet an incredible life that God has just done an amazing thing in, and we're going to get to that, man. But PhillVill, man, I got to tell you, man, being out here in Alaska, it's pretty sweet, bro, because you see me wearing a sweater, brother. What's the degrees out there back at home?
Man, it's burning hot as always. Really hot, but I noticed that is it raining there? You have an umbrella? I see it kind of sneaking in the picture once in a while there.
Yes. You know me, man. That's what I love. I love being on the outdoors, man. I'm an outreach boy. I'm an outreach poster boy, so had to do the off location outside, bro. Like I said, I'm in Pop's backyard, and man, look at the beautiful view, man. This is what Dad went to sleep in, or sleep with, and as you know, brother, why I'm up here, man. This is also the last thing that he got to see, on his way into eternity. So it's a pretty special moment for me, bro.
Brother, we're just praying for you and the family. I know that it's very fluid. You get to spend time with the family in celebration of your dad's life.
Amen. So being up here, man, being surrounded with family, and I come from a very talented family, brother. I can't wait, man. My uncle wrote a beautiful song for Dad. Dad's been bugging him about a song for like over 10 years because he's a songwriter, and he wrote a beautiful song for Dad's funeral about Dad. I got my nieces up here, man, and they're working, on their own songs, and I'm just really excited, bro. I'm catching that writer fever, bro. So your boy might go back to some old roots when I get back home, brother.
I won't say you're on iTunes, but we could Google that and just find you really easy. But you're saying large,
or not.
Speaking of larger than life, I know a lot of things are large over there. And I remember being around your family. You have large and lots of food, right?
Man, there you go again, PhillVill. Calling me fat. Man, I think you just called me fat again, brother.
Hey,
please put that down. That's like the 220th time, man. But no, you're right, bro. You met Pop, man, and you met him in Seattle. And as a matter of fact, Uncle Bingy. He's the one that had that humongous feast. Remember?
Oh, it's like it reminds me of the Hobbits when they go second breakfast, right? It's like second breakfast and big feast. Then you have lunch, which is a celebration of whatever occasion it is.
Yeah.
Huge. I remember having 3 plates coming to me like, I don't know if I could eat. Yeah.
It was, bro, that was hilarious, man. I got to rat on Philip a little bit. So I took Philip to Uncle Bingy's house, and Uncle Bingy has like 10 different plates in the front of us. And they're all got their own thing on their own meats, rice, whatever. Us Samoans, we eat a lot of rice. And so Phil was, he was done with his first round, and this guy had like food coming out of his ears, and he whispers over to me, and he says, "Okay, please tell your uncle that I'm done. I'm full." So what did I say, Phil?
There's a big old plate with a big old fish on it.
Yeah,
I hope it wasn't alive, but yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was good food.
and then I told my uncle, Uncle Philip's still hungry. He said he wants more. So can you give him like a whole other serving?
I don't remember that.
So then Phil got like 10 more plates in the front of him. So yeah, bro, that's why everything's larger up here, brother. I mean, but yeah, I'm definitely loving the food, bro. But I got a doctor's appointment in a couple of weeks, so I don't want to get in trouble. So you boys, keep you some self-control. I'm down to 5 Big Macs, a serving. So I'm good, brother. And I also got a Diet Coke with it, so I'm good, bro. How's Mia, bro?
Yes. Oh, Mia's.
Yes.
Thank you for asking. Mia, this last week, she was sent home from daycare because she was like really lethargic and very just, you don't know what was wrong with her, but she was just sick. She was up through the night keeping mom.
Yeah,
mom
I know.
up.
That's what I was asking.
And you know how it is when you have little ones and they get sick. I mean, they're going to get sick. They go to daycare, go to school around a lot of people. For dad to see his little one just not happy, inconsolable.
It's the worst, bro.
Inconsolable sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's just the worst, like you said. But hey, she's doing great. She's just laughing, running around, playing hiding and seek again.
But man, I'm glad to hear that she's doing good, bro. That's awesome.
Loto, like you said, today is episode number 5. I can't wait for everybody to hear an amazing story from an amazing, godly man about how he triumphed over some challenges in his life. We recorded here in the studio before we even launched, I believe, right? Before we even aired the first episode.
Man, bro, yes.
And so things are a little different, but hey, it's great. It's great content, definitely. Great story. And I love there's a part in there that talks about excuses and not making excuses.
For those that don't know, we got projects coming in. Overflow EXT is brought to you by Life of the Overcomer. And man, this is definitely an episode on the Overcomer.
Today we have Nick Burriel Jr., and he is going to share his story. He's going to kind of lay a foundation of what life was before.
I just want to welcome our special guest today, straight out of Central California, Nick Jr. Bereal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Nick, man, first of all, thank you so much for taking time, to hang out with us today.
Of course.
I know that you got a busy schedule and all that, and I believe you're going to be back in school soon, and man, so that's awesome, but today I'm really excited, man, to get into your story, brother, because you have a phenomenal story. You have a story that really just draws people in. So why don't you start with just introducing yourself and just share with everybody just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into some questions.
All right. My name is Nick Burriel. I'm 33 years old. I'm from Clovis, California, and just got first give glory to God. Nothing went impossible without God's grace. I went to Clovis East High School. Graduated in 2007. I went to University of San Francisco. I played soccer there for 3 years. And there, at that time, I was on Dean's List for 3 years in a row.
Did you say Dean's List 3 times?
Yes.
Let's pull it back a little bit, man, because, again, you have such an awesome story, brother. So you went to Clovis East. You graduated from there, right? Mm-hmm. And then you ended up going to what college again?
USF. And
USF. Now, how did you get to USF? How did that happen?
Because I want to play soccer. I want to get a scholarship for soccer, and they were the ones who offered me one. Like my dream college was Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah, but obviously I didn't. All they would play soccer. I had no other acronyms for school wise, So I was offered to play soccer at Columbia College, but again, my GPA just wasn't strong enough to get in there, Notre Dame or Columbia. But I went to University of San Francisco.
So you had some amazing opportunities, bro. And just from what I know of your history and your determination, your tenacity, I'm pretty sure eventually you would have ended up at Notre Dame or any school that you wanted to get to. But you mentioned soccer. Soccer has a very prominent place in your family, doesn't it?
Yes.
Tell us about that a little bit.
See, I started playing soccer 3 or 4 years old. And obviously my dad played soccer all his life. And he actually played pros in Germany. And we lived there for some years. His uncle, his brother in Germany, he was in the military. His brother was stationed there in Germany, and so he gave me the love of soccer, of sports, and being active in sports.
And the awesome thing, bro, is that you mentioned that your dad gave you that the love for soccer. We actually have in the studio, folks, Nick Jr.'s parents, Nick Sr. and Maria. So with the soccer, that obviously gave you the vehicle to get into college. Yes. It provided, scholarship and all of that. Tell us about college, bro. How was it? Now, remember, Nick, your mom's in the room, so be careful, brother. Yep. Be careful.
I'll see. Take a deep breath then. It was fun. It's cool to be considered an adult, but it was a fun. I met friends and played soccer with some greats, who played pros after they graduated from, like one pro went to play Galaxy soccer in LA. He actually played with David Beckham for one season.
Nice.
And my other buddy played in Germany, the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
And my buddy played in Florida. And so my buddies went to pro,
That's so awesome. And your dad has Germany ties too. And we'll get into that. With the college experience, man, what did it mean to you, Nick Jr., to go to college?
That's like a vehicle for your life, whatever your major is or not. My major was chemistry. I wanted to be a pharmacist.
Wow.
But then I changed my major when I moved back home to finance. I got a job at Wells Fargo. I was a teller there, so I changed my major to finance to be in that field of Wells Fargo. Explore
just life a little bit more, and I think it's important to know that, brother, you were on your way somewhere. You were well on your way. So Nick Jr., so you're in college, and you said that you had, you changed your major to financial. What was at this point in your life? Yeah. What was your long-term goal, brother? What was the future looking like for you?
See, I don't think I wasn't sure if I had I was not there yet of what I want to do in life. I had a girlfriend, and her and I had plans, to get a house and get an apartment first and have a relationship with her. And just unfortunately, we broke up in my accident. I'm grateful of her and her father, but so that was one of my goals, I guess you would say. Yeah. But just having a job was more like.
So Nick Jr., now you're in college. Man, it's something that you feel like you needed to do. That everybody needs to do that. You're playing soccer. You're living the dream, brother. You got a full ride, and you have a girlfriend. You're on your way. You wanted to be a pharmacist. Then you realize, wait a minute, maybe I want to be in the financial sector. So you got all these different opportunities, all these different things coming up.
A lot of opportunities.
And then it happened.
Nick, he did a lot. He was doing so much in school, in sports. Yeah. He had a girlfriend. He had a bright future. Everything was going for him. That he had everything that you could dream of. And he was laying the foundation for the financial degree. He was possibly had open doors for even further in the soccer career. What was your reaction to all his accomplishments?
Nick already did what you're supposed to do as a young person. All the way from elementary to middle school, high school. The kid started going to college. Went on a full ride. He could have done anything he wanted to, bro. I mean, the kid is sharp. The mountain that he had to overcome. Like I said, this is a true overcomer, bro. And he's just ready to just crack open the best part of his life. And then he went through the event, brother, that to see him journey through that is I know I can speak for the both of us, bro, just inspiring.
You said that you really didn't have any plans for the future, but you were kind of forced into a plan, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Where you're, something happened in your life. Why don't you describe that for us? What happened? What was this incident that so many has come to know in the Central Valley as you shared your story, brother?
11, 16, 13, I was assaulted in a restaurant, the Upper Room Bar and Grill in Fresno, and it was an assault. I got to a fight and started the fight. Nor did I finish the fight. I slammed my head, kicked in my head, punched in my head. For a long time, I was told I'm lucky that the MT that night was my very good friend. And herself and the workers never stopped working on me. But I learned from that Christian brother, it wasn't my friend, it was God's grace that she was there for that moment. They worked on me at the hospital. I mean, in the ambulance, they worked on me till the fine sun level pulse, and I guess they found a slight pulse. And I was rushed to Fresno Community Hospital. I was on induced coma for 3 weeks. This is where I know this from my mom and just time what happened. But while in the coma, the doctor said I'll never walk, talk, or see. I would die as a vegetable. I would have no quality signs of life. They drove my brain on the board, my parents, that here's your son's brain. Your son has no brain cells. They're all gone. They're all dead. Pull the plug. Now mom said, okay, you said that, but there's one person besides you, and that's God.
Come on.
I know my God
Come on.
will have my son okay. I'll say roughly 25, 20 minutes, because they assume, because they picked me up not responsive. I was not breathing. Well, I'm just grateful that my mom had a relationship with God, you know, because like I said, her whole deal was praying. And obviously when prayers work, you know, things happen when we don't pray, and things happen when we do pray.
Yes, sir. Come on.
And
tell them where you learned that from, brother. Tell them where you learned that from, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 8 o'clock prayer, right?
Yeah, Pastor Franklin. Yes, sir. And so she was going to attending friends community, and her girlfriends will have Bible studies always. So she had a relationship with God, you know, and she knew exactly where to turn to for, you would say, help for me, you know. And she didn't want help with praying. And her prayer warriors and friends of the cornerstone and continuing prayer for me. And brothers from church, you know, they always prayed for me. Yeah. And just grateful that God, you know, I'm here for that reason.
You know, PhillVill, you know, this, gosh, just hearing that all over again, you know, it actually reminds me, man, you know, get ready, folks, you know, to our audience. We've got something we're working on. PhillVill's actually working on. We've got a special feature coming up. But man, PhillVill, this kid, man, did you hear that? I mean, literally, his life stopped. Not just interrupted. His life stopped, bro.
They drew his brain to explain, and there was basically no function. He couldn't speak. He couldn't walk. He had to relearn everything.
Yes, and just to clarify, for those of you that kind of missed that, Nick was assaulted very brutally to the point where he actually died and lost pulse, lost brainwaves, everything. So man, you know, Phil, I mean, I believe he said that, you know, he was dead for like 24, 25 minutes, brother.
He was dead for quite a bit, and a lot of damage happened. But ultimately, with all that, he still gave praise to God.
And then how about his mom, bro? I mean, and his parents, you know? It's incredible just to hear about their role in this. And I love how his mama and his pop, they did not give up on Nick, and they refused to believe anything else besides what God already promised them, bro.
Yeah, and this happened a few years back, but I remember that day recording in the studio, and the parents were just sitting on the other side of the room, and you could see just the raw emotion of just hearing their son and just giving praise that he's still here to talk about his story.
You shouldn't be 23, 24 years old and have your mom, your dad clean your butt, your girlfriend at a time, your girlfriend's father clean your butt, feed you, dress you from all aspects of livelihood. I passed that days years, so that should never happen. It developed something in my heart to, I wouldn't say be mean, but it's like of no care, of pity. Like I always thought I had to just be tough, you know, and just deal with it, keep moving on, you know, until, like I said, I met a Christian brother that said it wasn't just only me just trying to be manly and deal with life. No, it was God's grace that you're able to be this lively person of just, and that touched me a lot to be more, I guess, happy and loving of just my situation now, you know.
You know, Nick Jr., you've, man, God has really surrounded you with some amazing people. I think you can agree that, you know, man, how important community is, right? I couldn't imagine, Philip. You know, I don't know if everybody caught that, but when you were practically gone and they barely holding on, It wasn't just a random paramedic that found you.
Nah.
Who was it that came to answer that call, the 911 call?
Like God hadn't planned, like not knowing my cousin's mother called the police that night, and the EMT was my very good friend. And then after that, that person who arrested the man was my cousin's ex-husband.
PhillVill, could you imagine you're an EMT and the worst nightmare possible happens? You get the phone call and the victim is your best friend.
I can't even imagine that. I wouldn't even know if I could focus on what my job because I'd be so concerned. I'm hearing your story, and your true superheroes that come out of this too are your parents. They did things that you said that can believe they had to do. What would you tell them right now? And the gratitude of them being there, that's a strength that you, looks like you've inherited that strength from them.
Yeah, so words can't say enough about my parents. I've said a couple interviews how my mom and my dad, my brother, my family, friends, they're all my rocks, you know?
His relationship with his parents, his relationship with his friends, they all stuck with him in his recovery process. They did things like he mentioned. He couldn't believe that what they were doing. They were there for him.
Yeah.
And out of those relationships, God's love came through.
Man, absolutely, bro. It's so awesome. You know, again, I just go back to the first clip where this guy is a kid that's on his way, bro. I mean, everything going for him. And his life is just completely shattered way back to the point of just, he had to start everything all over again. And thank God for his parents, bro. You know, we know Nick and Maria, amazing people, bro. And I thank God that Nick had them, man, because I don't think Nick would be where he is today without mom and dad. And another person that I think he's going to mention in the next clip, bro, another hero in this story, brother. But just to hear, you know, his parents' role in this. And then, you know, we heard more things off camera, bro. And again, I'm sitting here just stunned, bro. So forgive me if I'm just rambling, you know, and just, you know, fanning out over Nick. But when you hear his story and you see what he does today, as many are going to find out, how could you not be a fan?
Yes, he alluded to that. His story has went across his valley. He's been on several stations and a lot of speaking engagements, and he always has given glory to God for his healing and for his recovery. And he's still dealing with a lot of different issues, and his parents have been there for him.
Inspiring, incredible, you know, unbelievable. More words that comes to mind when thinking about Nick Jr.
I don't know a person I would be right now without my friends and my new friends from my church, friends of Cornerstone Church family, friends, UCY Youth I'm involved with. Majority of people you consider disabled, a lot of their friends leave them. And there are patients right now who are no more than me. They can see 20/20, they can drive, they can work, but they're different now. And their friends leave them, and my friends have not left me yet.
Just speaking about your family, your immediate family, one of my heroes in your story, bro, is your brother. I love your relationship with Tiger. Tell me how much that means to you, or what that means to you, bro, to have his support.
He's my younger brother, you know. I should have him
The other way around.
Yeah, like guiding him and helping him with homework, or when he was in middle school and high school. I should have been the one helping them, and I couldn't because I lost a lot from the person I was. The moment of knowledge of school, and I couldn't help him. And that should have been my job, helping him as an older brother. And that's stuff that I lost, but then I gained it too.
Yeah.
Because we have a close relationship now.
Man, that's so awesome. I love the way Tiger loves you, brother. Like, you're like his biggest hero, man. And I truly believe, I know your mom and dad loves you, but I just had this feeling that he might be your biggest fan, bro. I love it. I mean, it's so inspiring, brother. And then like PhillVill alluded to earlier, man, I want to kind of drill down on that a little bit more on having your mom and dad. What does that mean to you, brother?
Well, words can't explain how grateful from my mom and dad. My dad just, from my acting, changing his life to God, and being involved with our men's group we attend to, and the brothers he met there to guide him on the path of Christianity and his path of not being involved with men's group. I wouldn't be involved with church.
We talk about loss, talk about the things that you don't have anymore. But Nick Jr., as I'm listening to you, and both Phil and I are just here, just in awe, bro, of just the strength that you have. Is it safe to say that, yes, you lost a lot, but maybe you gained a little bit more, at least?
Absolutely.
You gained a dad who knows God, gained a mother, who is already amazing too, man. But I get to see her, man, on fire for Jesus at the church, and just, again, your family's so amazing. Now let's talk a little bit about church, and having church around you, because one thing we really believe here at Overflow EXT is community, and having the right community. What does it mean to you to have a church family, brother?
It's a lot, because you can go to people who won't judge you when you need help with problems. They're your support. Our Fresno community church family is great. All the pastors we have here.
You're such an inspiration, brother. And through you, I get to understand better myself. Because a lot of people know the challenges that I have, but just hearing your story, it helps me to understand when people say things like they're inspired and all that, because I truly feel inspired, brother. Yeah. One thing that's inspirational to me, bro, is of all people, you have an excuse to not show up. You have an excuse to stay home. Why don't you?
I can't. I could do everything. Oh, it's not the best of my abilities like I was once, but I can still do same things I did before my accident. Obviously, work or using Drive, but I have Uber and Lyft for rides. I'm not allowed to have pity on myself. For me,
no excuses.
But that's how I feel. Not every person who has brain injury can work out or run outside. I've fallen many times, but still, I'm okay. Yeah. God's watching me, and I can fly by myself to visit my family, my cousin is in Arizona, or just take road trips with my friends and family that people can't do who are disabled. Yeah. Even then, but they're still the same person. Just you gotta find the avenue to help yourself.
I've seen you on the news. You're a superstar now. Your message is going out. Can you talk about those organizations that just been there for you, that help you in the process of your restoration and your healing?
Fresno community.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the 6th floor St. Leon's therapists there. They were the ones who geared my, you would say, rehab, from walking, talking, seeing. Like I said, I had 450 vision at the time, and a bad case of aphasia. So me talking right now is a miracle, because my speak was like, and it was terrible, It was prayers and doing your therapies, and another spot too is Center for Now Skills in Bakersfield, California, and like if you have a brain injury, that's the spot you want to go to, CNS in Bakersfield, and they're the most renowned global rehab facility for brain injuries.
Yeah. An observation, I remember going and visiting back at Cornerstone and CY, and all the youth. They're lucky to have a youth leader like you. You see the passion and the smiling and just being there, and I really admire that you have found your calling and using your story and using your relationship with others to be used for God's glory.
Nick Jr., I want you to look right into that camera.
Which one?
And I want you to talk to maybe a Nick Jr. out there, or maybe somebody who's having struggles, and they feel like, man, I can't get up. I don't, why should I get up, man? And they're even contemplating maybe giving up, bro. Can you talk to them?
It's something I learned from Pastor Alex. He always tells our youth, himself too, if you're alive, that's enough. You know? And at the moment, I didn't get that what he meant at the time, but now I get what he meant by that. If you're alive, that's all you need to do. You're alive from God's grace. You know, you could do so much from being alive. And so it's hard for me to like raw hog people. You know, I'm getting better at it, but it's like you just got to trust God with all your might and know that He will never lead you in a wrong pathway, and He will never forsake you. He will never leave you. He'll always be there for in a time. And a reason why I'm so involved, or not even involved, but so with church, because like Pastor Franklin said this, when we get to heaven, we are a new, better version of ourselves. And I imagine me seeing 2020 vision, driving, tying my shoes, button my dress shirt. I want to die. You know, I pray I live a long life, get married, have a kid, family, some type of career, but I can't wait to die. Hope I get to heaven. But you know, it amazes me. It amazes me just knowing that to be a better version of yourself who you were. You know, yes. It awes me.
Man, that's so amazing, bro. Yeah, and just the thought of just a brand new you, man. But I tell you what, Nick Jr., the Nick Jr. that we have isn't that bad, brother. I love the one that we have, brother. And Nick Jr., when it comes to raw people and all that and get them fired up, you don't have to say much, brother. Every time you show up, we get fired up because we just can't believe that kid who has more excuses than anybody to not be here still shows up.
You talked about the two different versions of himself. He recognized that what God did in his life and his healing and the man of God that was revealed in ministry. He has new passions now to serve God and working with the youth. His dad is serving in the men's ministry. God has made a big difference. And God used a situation what the devil meant for bad, right? God use it for good. I love how he turns it around and he flips it. And he says, God, you're going to get all the glory in this.
Thank you, Jesus. Yes, man. You know, again, it's just incredible. This kid's life just stopped, you know. He was supposed to be dead. And he had to start all over from scratch, relearning words, relearning how to hold a ball. You know, his parents would talk about how they had to use different things just to get some motor skills going, you know. Thank God for his dad's soccer, you know, background, you know, because he was able to take a lot of the techniques there and really help rebuild, you know, his son, you know, and like I mentioned earlier, you know, he there was somebody special in his life. You know, I talked about being a fan, but there's no greater fan, PhillVill, than his brother. And I'm just so inspired by Tiger, man. It's incredible that these overcomers, you know, these people who overcome incredible challenges, they spark the overcomers in others, don't they?
His story, there's no way you could hear his story and not be impacted. I know that day that I took that story, I go, man, I have no excuse.
Yeah.
Because what he's gone through, he had no excuse. He had a fight inside of him. He had a fight that was passed down from his parents because they were fighting along with him. And then the fight of the Lord and the strength of that power that's given him that grace and that mercy to walk in his faith, to walk in victory, even
Praise
before
God.
he had victory.
Thank you, Lord. You know, and then I love how man, he didn't just recover and he wasn't just rebuilt, but he relaunched himself into ministry. I don't know if you guys heard, but he's a youth leader, and he is an amazing youth leader at our church, PhillVill. This guy, I mean, you cannot walk past Nick Jr. without slapping a smile on your face, even after your worst day. You could have just a really bad day, but when you see him, bro, out there with just the biggest smile, isn't that smile amazing? You know, and man, like you cannot help but smile back, and it just puts you in perspective, like, wow, I am blessed. If that kid can be here today doing what he's doing, then what's my problem? Of course, I can go the extra mile, you know, because this kid, he does it as soon as he wakes up, bro. Waking up for Nick Jr. is the extra mile.
Loto, hearing Nick's story and how he overcame his setback, it wasn't just a little thing. It was a huge thing in his life that changed his whole way of living. But I know somebody else, you know, you got shot when you were a teenager, right? At 16, and your whole life changed.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about how you can identify with Nick a little bit?
That's interesting you say that, bro, because I can relate, you know? Because again, you know, when I got shot, I lost my sight. So I too know what it's like to have to start all over again. Not at the level that my brother had to, you know? I mean, man, he literally started from zero. You know, I still have, you know, some body parts that I didn't have to rehab, you know? And so just going through that, man, and hearing him, it does remind me of a lot of things that I had to get through and all that. You know, and there's a lot of challenges. You know, for those of you that are listening, let me just talk to you directly, if you don't mind, PhillVill. I'm going to talk to our audience, to our guests, because again, one of our pillars here at Overflow is to make sure that you all know that you are in the room with us, and I hope that you feel like that, you know. But I want to talk to you because there's some things that I think the general public needs to know about those who have special needs, categorized as disabled folk or handicaps. You know, I just heard about the whole Beyonce thing, you know, that she used some terms that people were saying that she was insensitive because what if she offended handicapped people? I'm sorry. Look, first of all, I don't speak for all handicaps. I don't speak for all disability. I don't claim that I do. I only speak for the intelligent ones. I only speak for the cool disabled folk like Nick, myself. But for those who are easily offended, I'm sorry. There's almost nothing we can do for these folks. But, you know, all kidding aside, there's some things that you got to know. Number one is I want to acknowledge that us disabled people, we're the rudest people in the whole world. Like, we are so rude. And a lot of it is because we forget that not everybody is born with a handicap manual. Like, there's no book out there that says, this is how you want to handle a handicapped person, or you should treat a blind person this way, or you should treat, you know, a person who can't, you know, walk this way, you know. To my handicapped folk out there, or handicapable folk out there, I just want to remind you that these people, they're not supposed to really know how they're supposed to treat us. You're probably the first handicap that they've ever met. So you got to be understanding and cut some grace, you know. The other thing is, we all have disabilities. Every single one of us have a certain disability. So we are all disabled folks, you know. Now, when it comes to being disabled, there's some things that a lot of people who aren't disabled, you know, don't really understand. And that's what it's like to be handicapped. Now, we understand when you say things like, oh, you know, we want to help you, or we want to assist you. I say this all the time, you know, that we're looking for good help, not just help, because not all help is good help. And that's not just with handicapped communities, but that's even with like management and supervision and all of that. You know, everybody, you know, they want to help. They just don't realize they're either not great help or they're not the right help, right? So here's what I want you to think as a person that's not disabled or don't share the disability with whoever you're dealing with. If you're going to help us, then you really need to focus on us, not just the help. For example, there's people who wants to help me, you know, get a project done. And so I just need them to tell me what colors are on the tables so that I can pick a color or a couple of colors that I want on the project. But a person comes along and they say, oh, man, you know what? This yellow goes with that orange and goes with this red. Why don't we put this yellow, orange, red, you know, on this project? Oh, see, look, that looks nice. Oh, see, yes, you know, you pat yourself on the back and then you walk away like, I just helped that blind guy. No, you didn't. I didn't want those colors. I asked you to come here because I wasn't sure where those colors were. And had you asked me, hey, are these, you know, or you told me, hey, this colors, this and that, I would have told you, okay, those are the colors that I don't want on the project. Can you use the other colors on the table to put on the project? I really hope that makes sense, you know, because a lot of times, you know, or, you know, there's other times where you guys would just volunteer, you know, a solution to a problem we didn't even present. So you gotta do a lot of listening and get really good at trying to understand what we are asking and not what you are hearing. There's a big difference, between both of those things. Just take a little bit more time to get a better understanding of the help that we need, not the help that you think we need. Because a lot of times you're wrong. We love you and we thank you. We appreciate that. And then when you say things like, no, it's no problem at all. We want to help you. We want to help you. It's no problem. Like, you can ask us for help anytime. That sounds really, really good. But that also is way too generic. See, because then you have us thinking, oh, I can call you 2 a.m. And you're so nice. The first time you won't say anything. Second time, fifth time, you won't say anything. And then you get irritated. And you can't fake irritation. You can't hide frustration. We're handicapped people. All the other senses have been heightened. So we have spider senses that can sense that you really are irritated. And you are really frustrated. And then we're back to square one because like, man, like, the last thing we wanted to do is to be a burden. Why? Because you don't need to remind us that we're a burden. We already know this. So when we say, like, no thanks, we're not being rude. We just know what's going to happen the 6th time we ask you for something. We already know what's going to happen. So you're going to look at blind people or handicapped people, and you're going to think, oh, they're in that room because they're depressed or because they're ashamed or they're this and that. No, we lock ourselves in the room because we just don't want to be a burden again. So when you say things like, oh, just ask us for help whenever you want, you have to grab that checkbook and tear it up, because there's no such thing as blank checks when it comes to help. There is a cost. If you could just tell us what you're willing to pay, then we can tell you how much help we need without overcharging you or overcharging what you're really willing to do for us. We love you, and we know that you mean it. We know you mean it, especially family members. We know you mean when you say that you want to help us and that you love. We know that. But as a handicapped person, we also understand that there's a cost. And we're the ones that, because of our spider senses, we feel the frustration, the irritation, the disappointment. We feel the burden even more than you do. But those are just some of the things that I wanted to ask you. If you want to do anything for us, prayer. I know that sounds so stinking simple and cliche, but honestly, prayer is the greatest thing that you can do for us. And please don't just pray for a healing. Why would you limit God to just a healing? Why would you limit God to just give us new legs or give us new limbs or give us new eyeballs or new ears or a new tongue or a whole new life? Like, why would you limit? Like, we need a peace of mind. We could use joy too. We could use a lot of wisdom on how to navigate this disability. We can use those things too. So don't limit God to just praying for a miracle so we can get out of the wheelchair. Like, no, because my brothers and sisters that's in a wheelchair, they can get out of that chair tomorrow, but they're going to have the rest of the week to be frustrated because they don't have the peace of God. I can start seeing today, but if it costs me my joy in the Lord, I don't want to see. I'd rather have this joy of the Lord because that's something that I can share. That's something that I can share with others. And if my healing is going to cost me my relationship with God, then I don't want the healing. I do not want the healing. I'd rather have my relationship with Jesus. For some of you, you're blown away and you're like, yeah, right. Are you serious? So you don't want to see, you'd rather have, what in the world? All that tells me is you have the worst disability of all. And that's a disability in your relationship with Christ because you don't have one. Because if you had a relationship with Jesus, then you would be shouting, amen, brother, I agree. If I was blind, I'd rather stay blind too, than lose my relationship with Jesus. So let this disability person or disabled person offer you the greatest ability of all. And that's the ability to pray, not just for me, beloved, but to pray for you. And that you will have the greatest ability of all, and that's the ability to know Jesus as Lord and Savior. Man, PhillVill, I love this episode, man. I love talking to Nick Jr., and I love you, my brother. And thank you, PhillVill, for helping me with my disabilities and all that. Because bro, blindness is not the only disability I have, brother.
Loto, man, I love you too. Thank you for sharing that as a brother. There's some things I still don't know about you after all 20 years I've known you, and I appreciate you sharing and being vulnerable with everybody, and it helps me kind of just understand you more. And hopefully I know it will help others out there understand people with disabilities. What is it they truly desire? It's not necessarily, like you said, the healing, the peace of mind, maybe an encouraging word, maybe just being there.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate this, man. I love today's episode with Nick, and also got to meet the family behind the scenes and some things to come in the future, I know. Thank you again for chiming in here straight from Alaska. Looks like you're getting cold. It's getting dark over there. We noticed the
55 degrees out here, bro.
Yeah. Now, there is daylight out there still, even though it's getting a little cloudy and dark.
Mm-hmm.
What time is it over there?
So it's after 9. I know that.
It's 11:10 here.
Yeah. It's
11:10 p.m.
Oh, so that means it's 10:10 over here, bro. p.m.
So it's p.m.
So this is 10 in the evening, folks. Yes, yeah. And so it'll probably get dark, and it'll stay dark till maybe midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Then the sun will be back up, bro. But yes, and this beautiful park that you all saw behind me, I believe it's Susan Nightingale Park. It's one of the beautiful parks here in Anchorage, man. Like I said, that this is what Dad, slipped into eternity. This is the last view that he got. And I'm just really thankful for that. But it's been awesome tuning in from the great state of Alaska, city of Anchorage. Thank you all for joining us here at Overflow EXT. They're staying in a conversation. PhillVill, let's send off the folks.
And thank you for being part of us each and every week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We do appreciate all the feedback that you've been giving us. We love you guys, and we're praying for you. And if you have any prayer requests, email us at info@overflowext.com. Again, Loto, we'll see you next week, and we'll be praying for you and the family. Again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, PhillVill. Lord bless you all. Love you.
You've been listening to Overflow, the extended conversation, obliterating social norms and overrunning the cultural corrosion with righteous rhetoric and common sense. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on social media at Overflow EXT. Lord bless, and we'll see you next time on Overflow, the extended conversation.